It's Monday, October 27th. Let's level up. Big week ahead with the rest of the big cap names. We have Booking on Tuesday. We have Meta, Microsoft, and Alphabet on Wednesday. That's a little disturbing to me because I usually like to do that Meta, Alphabet type of switcheroo. Usually the first one to report, they both go the same way, and then the next one the opposite way. This one, they both report on the same day, so that trade is clearly off the table. Amazon and Apple are on Thursday, and then Friday are the oils with Chevron and Exxon. And of course, we have a Fed decision on Wednesday. Now, it's obvious the Fed is going to cut. The big question is Powell going to be hawkish or dovish? I think he's going to express some caution with potential layoffs, particularly with the government shutdown and the lack of government data. So I think they're going to be flying a little bit blind, but the Fed does a lot of their own internal polling and studies, so not completely. As far as VIX goes, we are still making new highs in the market, but the VIX is not confirming with new lows. We're not down into the 14s. We're actually just below some key reference levels at 1623. I'd start saying that it's a little too much. The market's still going up, but the VIX gets over 1757. We should see the 14s, quote unquote, and that may happen after the Fed and maybe after some of the big earnings. I think that's why we see the differential between volatility and markets. As far as the ES and the NQ go, we now have a new high in an overnight session. Liquidation breaks are possible, but it's doubtfully a good high. We have a rich close today. If that were repaired, it would be 68.91.75. A breakout level from the pre-market pop would be 68.90, so roughly that 68.90 to 68.92-ish zone. Qs, similar situation, rich close, repair would be 25,873. After that, the pullback would be to 25,768 quarter, and then we'd see again. I was not impressed today really with the breadth. I mean, 1.58 to 1 positive on the NYSE, 2.3 to 1 positive on the NASDAQ. The AD line was abysmal. At one point, it was only 19. It closed around 300. That's not really trend day type levels. We want to see 1,200, 1,500, 1,700. We were really weak. Ticks were a little bit middling. I think this was the squeeze. A lot of people are probably hedged up, and they're taking those hedges off because it's bleeding out their performance. As far as SPY goes, nice gap and go today. We closed almost near the highs. We're actually at the yellow channel high. Now, if we were to keep going and make it to the green channel high, there is still a little bit more room, close to 690. I'm thinking we're going to start getting a lot of the 700 talk here because we're getting closer. Any pullbacks, they must hold 673.95. That was the breakout from the big 10-10 dump day. Remember, that was the trade tensions, again, with China. We have President Trump, by the way, also meeting with Xi on the 29th. So as if we didn't have enough with the earnings and the Fed, we now have that meeting to go as well. As far as the Qs go, big gap and go today also. We're actually above the magenta channel high here. It is in clear air, so this could continue to rally. I think you could use today's low of day basically also across the board as a stop on everything at 624.03. And if we were to do the apples to apples in the SPY, you're looking at 682.12. Apple, new all-time high today. We are right into the green channel high that we were looking for here at the 269s, 270s. If we were to go a little further and make it to the yellow channel high, where it would be 270, 252, remember, we know their numbers are going to be better. We know the China numbers have been better. I think a lot of people caught that red herring where they saw the iPhone Air not selling so well, but within that same note, other iPhone 17 models were being increased because those are the ones that are selling and those are the ones that have the higher margins. One of the things I caught, which was also interesting in these old cap tech names, was in Microsoft. Intel reported and they said that a lot of the better than expected earnings was a pull forward for upgrading in Windows systems, which is Microsoft. Remember the old Wintel partnership. I think you could use today's low of day in Microsoft as a stop at 529.01, but this was a gap and go above the downtrend line here. I am a little concerned that this happened before earnings, but it is roughly into the 61.8. I don't mind trimming at 531s plus, but anything above there, and particularly high of day at 534.58, could see the 541.95, which is the 78.6, basically from the 61.8 to the 78.6. NVIDIA, we know it has resistance roughly on the 5s. We had a pretty strong day today. I'd say anything below 190 now would probably be a good stop out. I'm thinking it could retest the all-time highs at 195s, where there's probably a good opportunity to trim, and then at 200 and then 204, 205, that would be the next resistance. Google still acting super well, new all-time high. Not exactly a bear market here. The 2.618 is 290.86, and then people will probably be talking about the 300 there too. I think low of day now at 264.28 is as good a stop as any. Gold continues to have the pullback. I had told you I thought we might have a pro gap down. We did have a weak rally. We didn't get to the 10 MA, and now we can't even hold the 20 MA. So for the bulls, they need to get back up over 373.71. Remember, I told you I thought it was a good idea to sell at the 400, 402 level, which really did mark the top. Yeah, we got it 403, but today's close was 367, so pretty big drop already. I think if we got down to the 50 MA, that could be a right or right out by the dip. That's currently 346.70, but generally I think it's a no touch until we could get at least back up over the 20 MA or lower. The Bitcoin, very nice pop today, but it got into my resistance zone. I had tweeted out about this between 15,493 and 16,515. We are a little bit below that 50% fib now, and the 100 MA here is roughly the must hold at 113,777. Below there gets a little iffy. If we slip into the gap below 113,495, we could actually fill in the gap to 110,990, but Bitcoin is acting fairly okay. It needs to hold this 100 MA though. TLT continues to rally. I like trimming a little bit here into the 78.6, 91.78 plus. We're actually a little over that in the after hours. I told you I think the trade is probably going to be lower rates into the Fed, and then the pattern the last two times has been then we see rates increase actually after the Fed cuts. I don't know it's going to be the same this time, but yeah, it's happened the last two times, so you probably want to lighten up into TLT, particularly if it keeps running into the Fed. Generally speaking, markets are at all-time highs. It has been able to shake off a lot of mutual fund selling, which their year-end ends right now roughly at Halloween. After that, they're going to start their new calendar year, and there could be buying for an end-of-year rally. We do have a new all-time high in an overnight session. Those don't usually stand as, quote, good highs. Those need to happen in RTH, usually with some excess. If we have an RTH high and it's a poor high, often you'll also have a liquidation break first before repair. I'll let you know when I do see excess in an RTH session. Usually it happens with a reversal day as well, so it becomes very obvious visually. I will be with you guys live for the Fed on Wednesday. I'll be on for Powell's press conference at 2:30 p.m. If you have friends who are interested in this, just tell them to hit the subscribe button on my profile. If you're not subscribed already, do that as well. Like and follow for more.